I grabbed my shotgun when HOA agents stormed my ranch. They panicked and fled. People always assume nothing unusual ever happens on a quiet Texas ranch. I used to believe that too. Then one ordinary morning, a convoy of SUVs rolled through my front gate without permission, and before the day was over, my family's ranch had become the center of a confrontation no one in the county saw coming. My name is Jack Toner, and I've spent more than 25 years running the same Texas ranch my father left to me. Every fence line, every pasture, and every oak tree carries memories of generations who worked this land long before expensive neighborhoods and homeowners associations ever appeared nearby. It's a peaceful life built on hard work, respect, and knowing exactly where your property begins and ends. Everything changed when a certified letter arrived claiming that part of my southern pasture was now subject to HOA authority. At first I laughed because I'd never joined any HOA. But after reading every page, I realized they were completely serious. According to their documents, they intended to extend their development across land that had belonged to my family for decades. I pulled out every deed, survey, and property record my father had carefully preserved. Every official document confirmed the same boundaries that had existed for over 70 years. The more I studied them, the more obvious it became that someone had made a serious mistake. 2 days later, the mistake drove straight onto my ranch. Several SUVs arrived carrying surveyors, contractors, and HOA representatives armed with clipboards and measuring equipment. Without asking permission, they began placing stakes across my pasture as though the land already belonged to them. Their president, Linda Brooks, confidently explained that my property would soon become part of a new recreational expansion for their community. I calmly asked a simple question. Do you have a court order allowing you onto my property? Instead of answering, they continued working as if they hadn't heard me. That's when I realized they expected me to stand back and watch strangers claim land that wasn't theirs. I walked back to my ranch house and returned with my lawfully owned shotgun resting safely over my shoulder. I never aimed at anyone, never threatened anyone, and never raised my voice. I simply stood on my own porch and made it clear that uninvited people weren't going to roam freely across private property. The atmosphere changed instantly. The survey crew stopped hammering stakes into the ground. Workers exchanged nervous looks while Linda's confident smile slowly disappeared. I repeated my question one more time, asking them to produce the legal authority that allowed them to be there. Once again, no one could answer. Instead, I handed Linda copies of the original county deed showing that my ranch boundaries had existed long before her subdivision was ever built. She studied the documents carefully before stepping aside to make a phone call. Whatever she heard during that conversation clearly wasn't what she expected. A short time later, Sheriff Collins arrived. He greeted me, listened to both sides, and then compared the HOA paperwork with a certified county record stored in his vehicle. It didn't take long before he noticed that the subdivision map being used by the HOA didn't match the official county survey. Without much discussion, the survey crew quietly began removing every stake they had planted. One by one, their equipment disappeared back into the SUVs while the sheriff confirmed that my ranch boundaries remained exactly where they had always been. Although the vehicles drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. That evening I spread every deed, map, and survey across my kitchen table. After hours of comparing documents, I discovered that a newer digital subdivision map showed an incorrect property line. The original county survey had never changed, but someone had relied on an inaccurate copy instead of the official records. The following morning, I visited the county records office and requested certified copies of every historical survey connected to my ranch. The clerk reviewed everything before smiling and confirming that my family's property lines had remained unchanged for more than 7 decades. Meanwhile, the HOA board held an emergency meeting to understand how their expansion project had gone so badly wrong. A few days later, Linda returned to the ranch alone. There were no contractors, no surveyors, and no convoy of SUVs. This time she simply wanted to compare documents. Standing beside my front gate, we reviewed the certified county records together. Once the official surveys were laid out side by side, the mistake became impossible to deny. Their expansion plans had been based on outdated information instead of legally recorded boundaries. Linda admitted the HOA had acted far too quickly and promised every incorrect claim would be withdrawn. She also confirmed that all survey markers would be permanently removed and their records corrected to match the county files. As the sun disappeared behind the hills that evening, my ranch looked exactly as it always had, peaceful, quiet, and exactly where it belonged. That day taught me something important. You don't always win by arguing the loudest. Sometimes the strongest defense is staying calm, knowing your rights, and letting the facts speak for themselves. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more HOA stories. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?